find time to join me today. This is the Exceptional Women Show. I am Miriam Agutu. My guest today, they have organized together with a number of other women in other denominations a prayer walk dubbed Women Interdenominational Prayer Walk. Mrs. Virginia Minor, thank you for joining me on the show today.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you.
I'm honored.
It's an honor for me.
Yes.
Because I think what you're doing is very important.
Thank you.
And Kenyans need to know out there what you're doing. So what is this Women Interdenominational Prayer Walk?
Now, this is going to be a walk where women from all denominations, and actually I can say from all walks of life, will come together to pray so that during this election there is going to be peace. That is our mandate, and that is the assignment that we have at this time.
Is this the first time you're holding this prayer walk?
No, this actually is the second time that we are doing this kind of a walk. Although I know if I were to talk about small prayer walks that we have done, there are many. They are not, you can't count them. We do them on a monthly basis and sometimes on a weekly basis.
Okay.
But that is in small groups. But this one, we are putting thousands of women together so that they can come and pray that as we do this election,
It's a very
nation,
sensitive period in this country
yes,
right now.
it is. That on the 9th of August, we can actually wake up and do
Go
our
about our
business
lives
as usual.
Yes, exactly.
So that is the reason why we are actually calling women together so that we can pray together. We can pray for our men, our husbands, our sons, our fathers, because most of the times they are the ones who bring certain problems.
Get stolen by the devil and used. It's easier for them to be, yeah?
Yes.
So, of course, when there's no peace in a country, like what happened in 2007, 2008, post-election violence, and we are hoping nothing of that will happen again in this country. Women get affected the most, and children. Is that the reason why you find it is important as women to go out there and pray for this country?
That is part of the reason, but the other thing is that women are peacemakers. They make peace in their homes, they make peace in their communities, they make peace even within a nation. As women, we are peace custodians. For some reason, God created us that way. And He gave us that mandate. And out of this mandate, we are doing this. And we are calling women to come out in their big numbers for this day. When peace is disrupted in a nation, like you have said, it is women who suffer most. They're the ones who run away with their children. They're the ones who go hungry. They're the ones who are left as widows. They're the ones who are left childless. And so, in a way to be able to prevent that, we are calling upon the Lord because we are also Christians, we are intercessors, and we know that there are battles that we cannot fight physically. So we are going it spiritual, and we are fighting a spiritual battle to appeal to the Most High Authority, that as we do our elections this year, as we vote for leaders of dignity, that is also the other part why we are praying, that there is going to be peace in this nation. Yes.
And God will hear our prayers. Like, that is the prayer of every Kenyan.
Let me tell you, Miriam, God always hears prayers.
And in order
He answers prayers. He has invited us to actually pray. And so we are not just going as just for the sake of it. We are going at His invitation. He says, come to me, all you that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. And I can tell you, one of the beasts of burdens, they are women, not men. So we are heavy laden. So we are actually going to God and telling Him, you know what, this is a high-stake time. Yes, it's a high-stake election. And so we need your help. That's really what we are telling God. Yes.
All shall be well.
And actually, if God does not answer prayers, Miriam, we would not be praying.
That is true.
We are praying because He is a prayer answering God.
Amen.
Yes.
Amen. So is it the first time you had this walk? When was that? You, before we started, you're mentioning the incident that happened at Garissa University. Was it
Yes.
the first time you found the need to start this prayer walk?
Actually, that was the first time that we called women together, interdenominational, churches and intercessory groups and women's ministry. We put them together after what happened in Garissa. We found out that so many women were hurting. We were praying and we were asking the Lord, what do we do? And he said, begin to prayer walk your city and begin to proclaim that there is going to be peace in the nation. And because that time we were dealing with a different kind of an issue, it was the issue of terrorism. They had threatened this nation in a very bad way, in our bus stops, in our buildings,
really
yes,
scary.
on our roads. And now the university, these are young people. They're people with potential. They are our future.
The future of this country.
Yes. And so it was hurting. It wasn't an easy time.
It was bad.
For those who lost their children, it was harder. But for those who had not lost their children, they were also
They were all affected.
potentially they would also lose their children.
Yes.
And so we wanted to close that door. We thank God that God heard our prayers.
Because nothing like that has happened again.
When we walked the streets of Nairobi on the 2nd of April, 2016, and we prayed through all the government institutions, including the security, the vigilante house. We went there and proclaimed peace.
Oh, you did?
Yes, we did that.
Okay.
We knew that our economy is affected. And so we went to
Treasury.
Yes, we went to Treasury. Treasury is, near Treasury there is the KRA. There is also the central bank.
you went to
And so
the
we
heart
covered
of the
that
city,
area. Judiciary is so important. They are the ones who make laws for us. We went to the judiciary, to the Supreme Court, and there we prayed. We went to the office of the president. We went to the parliament, and then we ended up with the county government. This is our county. So we went to Nairobi County, and we prayed, and I can tell you that the Lord has been faithful. We have had their threats, but we have never had a terror attack since then.
Especially in that magnitude.
Yes, Miriam. So when we say that God is a prayer answering God, indeed we have seen that.
So,
As we walk out this time, on the 8th of July, we are actually walking the streets with more confidence and more women coming out so that we can begin to say that not another 2007, 2008 is going to happen on our watch. As women, we are going to come out and proclaim that there is going to be peace. We are going to talk to our husbands. We are going to talk to our sons. We are going to talk to our fathers, our grandfathers. We are going to talk to anybody who goes out of those streets to bring some of those disruptions that disrupt peace. And tell them, you know what, as your mothers, as your aunties, as your sisters, as your grandmothers, we need peace in this nation. So that is what we are doing on the 8th of July. And actually, we are calling it every woman who has not even heard us. If war happens, it's not only going to affect the Christian community. It is going to happen to the Muslim. It is going to happen to the non-Christians. It is going to happen to the Hindus, wherever you are, even if you don't know God. Join with us. Come and let us pray.
be part of this.
Yes, be part of this.
So why should we embrace prayer as a country? Why is prayer important? Why should people understand that, we need to pray as a country?
The first thing that we need to appreciate is that there is a higher being. If there was no higher being that made certain decisions, that sometimes we don't know how even the decisions were made, and yet they affect us. And that higher being, we discover that higher being through the Word of God, and that is God Himself. And God has given us a way that we can relate to Him. We can relate to Him through prayers. We can communicate to Him through prayers. And through His Word, He can also communicate to us. And that is why we are saying that prayer is important. And, just going back to what I have told you about the prayers that we said last year, about this nation. We are all witnesses as we sit here and as we listen, even the people who are listening to us, they are all witnesses that since last year we haven't had a terror attack.
That is true.
Yes, so there is a higher
Because it
being,
was
and
becoming
prayer
notorious.
is important. Yes, so we are telling people prayer is important.
Yeah.
Yes, and that is why we are getting out of the streets to just pray,
And
to
cover
tell the
our
Lord,
country.
you know, we thank you that it hasn't, the threats, the terror attacks have not happened again, and we are coming to you again to remind you that since 2007, 2008, we haven't had a problematic election, and this election is not going to be problematic. We are actually, you know, as we speak to you, Miriam, we are proclaiming it.
Yeah.
We are saying there is going to be peace.
Amen.
On the 9th, you will come here and you will continue interviewing your people, continue doing your work.
Yeah.
Yes, and all of us will go out, whether we are mama boggers, whether we work in our executive
about our
office,
lives like
the
normal.
president, you know, whoever. The paupers, you know, people who beg in the streets, they're still going to go there
Yeah.
in peace
Our lives
and be
will
able to continue with their normal lives.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the people in this country, even after what happened in 2007, 2008,
Yep.
they really don't understand the importance of peace. Even after that, there's still people who think they can mess with the peace that God has given this country. What will be your advice for people out there who take the peace that God has given us for granted?
I think when we look at Kenya, we need to appreciate what God has done to this nation. You know, if you have lived long, like I have done, and we are surrounded with nations like Sudan, we are surrounded with nations
Somalia.
like DRC, we are surrounded with nations like Somalia. I think we need to appreciate that peace is something. They all come to Kenya to seek refuge. We have seen them, we have given them refuge. We need to remind our young people, we don't want our mothers to take their bags and begin to look for a place like they did in 2007. You remember?
Heartbreaking.
From wherever, from, was it Kakamega?
Yeah, they went
where
to
women
Uganda.
went to Uganda. Yes, we don't, you know, can you imagine if that happened to the entire nation? And those women have been crying to be able to come back to Kenya. And I think at some point they even came back and they went to sit at the parliament building, you know, to plead with the government now to give them a place where they can, where they can stay.
Resettle.
And then the other thing is that within the 3 months, I think there were 3 months in 2007, 2008, when there was disruption of peace. I don't know how old you are, but if you can remember how the food prices skyrocketed.
And it has never gone back.
And it has never gone back, can you
A
imagine?
half liter of milk was 22 shillings.
Can you imagine?
After it went to skyrocketed, things have never been the same again.
What about
After that.
unga? How much was it? It was still allowed the same price, but now it has gone to 100 and something, you know, almost 200. There are people in this nation who earn 200 shillings a day, isn't it? How many ugas can they buy from that kind of income?
It's difficult.
So we need to tell them, because most of the times they are the ones who are used to begin to throw stones. We need to tell them how important it is for them to even be able to go to
work
wherever
and
they
earn
go
that little they're
and
earning
earn that little
in
money that
peace.
they are earning. Yes. And even the people who have got money, let's say, even them, they want to stay in this nation. They don't want to go out. They, you know, even the president can become a refugee, by the way.
We've seen in so many countries.
Yes, isn't it?
It
We have
happened in
hosted
Tunisia.
presidents in this nation because their nation cannot
turmoil.
hold together.
So we don't
So
want
we
that.
need our nation to hold together. And part of the reason why we are
having
doing
the
this
peace walk.
prayer work is so that we can hold this nation together.
So
Yes.
as women, of course, you understand, as a woman, I see you understand the influence women have in the society. But there are other women out there who may not understand the power God has given them in just being a woman and just using that to be influenced, even in their homes as mothers and sisters and things like that. How would you encourage them?
Well, one of the things I know is that most women know the power that they have. Because
They underplay it sometimes.
and
They don't know
sometimes
how
they're
powerful
also
they are.
so battered
Yeah.
that they get to a place where they forget, maybe battered by poverty, battered
Life
by their
struggles,
husbands, you know, battered by life, so that they don't even value the, you know, the
They
kind
don't
of,
understand the power
yes,
they have.
the kind of power that God has put in them. I want to encourage you, if you're a woman, it doesn't matter where you are. God has given us something so special as a woman to be able to influence our environment and to be able to influence the people around us. And that is the power that we want to unleash, even as we come out and tell men, you know what? We cannot command you, but we are asking
We are beseeching.
We are asking you, you know, we are asking you, please, let there be peace in this nation. And we are appealing even to our president. Our president, too, is a man.
Yes.
The opposition leader is a man. You know, the people who are vying for different positions, there are many who are men. So we are appealing to them as women, and we are telling them what we want in this nation is an enabling environment where we can do our work.
All of us can thrive.
Yes. Yes.
All right, Virginia. It was wonderful to have you on the show. I know I have to have Hellen to come and finish the other part of the conversation.
Yes.
I'm glad you came. You found time. I know you're very busy preparing for the
Yes.
walk,
Yes.
but I'm happy you found time to come and be with me here today.
Thank you so much, Miriam. I'm honored to be here and that you can call me in this show. You called it
Exceptional Women Show.
Exceptional
Because
Women.
you're an exceptional woman who understands her power and her worth.
Thank you.
God has given her.
Thank you.
Welcome back. This is Exceptional Women Show. In case you're joining me, previously I was speaking to Virginia Minor, one of the organizers of Women Interdenominational Prayer Walk, and now I'm joined by Hellen Mshugu, who is also part of that prayer walk. They're organizing together, but also she's a mentor.
Yes.
Hellen.
Yes, I am.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Miriam.
I probably cannot remember everything you do.
Yes.
Because you do a lot.
That's true.
But I'd like for you to just briefly introduce yourself and what you do to
Okay.
the viewers.
Thank you very much, Miriam. I'm glad to be here this afternoon.
It's an honor.
And I thank God for even the opportunity to come and meet you and just explain what we are doing. I'm a mentor. I work with the Presbyterian Church as the women coordinator in Nairobi region, which extends to Mombasa, up to Lamu, and then goes to Tanzania from Arusha, Dar es Salaam, and Mbeya. Mbeya is at the border of Tanzania and Zambia.
Oh, wow.
And my responsibility is to empower women, socially, economically, spiritually, and that is what I love doing. I'm also a mentor who is actually qualified to do mentorship. I mentor a lot of young people, both men and women, but I'm so more inclined into the women. So I'm always with the young ladies and the women because those are the ones.
Why are you passionate about the women?
I'm passionate about the women because the woman is a very powerful person. From creation, when God created the world, he created man in his own image. But at some point, he realized the man was not complete. And he said, I will create a person, a helper, who complements this person, and the perfect helper. And that was the woman. And I've really wanted to know, why did God say that? I've done a lot of research and study, wanting to understand who a woman is. And a woman is a very powerful person and very influential person if they use their godly given power in the right way. They can destroy and they can build.
True.
Yes. So I do a lot of mentorship. And as women of different churches, we've been holding prayers. We've been praying for this country since 2007 because we wouldn't want to see what we saw. No. Women cried, children, husbands, and we said never again. And when we were organizing the prayer walk that Virginia has just talked about, I took myself back to Liberia when there was the civil war. And what happened, and even in Rwanda. But in Liberia, the unique thing is that at one point, the women just said, no, we don't want these killings anymore. And women from all walks of life, all religions, came together and started pleading with the men, don't kill one another, with the governments, international countries. Please intervene. And at one point, the government had to listen to them because women are a reckon to, the force to reckon with. They just sat Day in, day out, they walked to the stadium and sat there, no food, no talking. They were just passing a voice. We want peace in this country. They were all dressed in white. And the government and the international world realized there's something that has happened. And they intervened. And our first woman president came from Liberia. Yeah. The voice of a woman. Salif. So I wanted you to give me a chance to read these words. Because what we are doing is very godly. And it's from the book of Judges. I'll read just one verse. And it says this. Verse 7, that is Judges 5, verse 7. Village life in Israel ceased. Ceased until Deborah arose. Arose a mother in Israel. When they chose new gods, war came to the city gates, and not a shield or a spear was seen among for 40 years in Israel. When a mother arises, things change. The Bible says that silence, there was war, there was crying, there was quietness in the city. There was a lot of men, children were not going to the streets, men were not walking freely, mothers were not going to fetch water because there was war. But arose a mother. And after that, the Bible reckons that for 40 years, not a spear, not an arrow. That's why we are taking this prayer walk. And we are walking the whole of Nairobi, declaring that there will not be war, not for 40 years, but for the rest of the life. We don't want our children and our children's children to continue in a war-like country. No, 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 no. And so we are here trying to plead with every woman from all walks of life. We want this to be coordinated even in other counties. As we are prayer walking Nairobi, other women would be walking in other countries, in other counties, just declaring peace. Miriam will all be clad in white. Okay. We will be wearing white.